So get this, podcast listeners. Georgia State Representative Vernon Jones says, get off the Democrat plantation. Georgia State Representative Vernon Jones says, get off the Democrat plantation. More on this plantation politics period in the 2020 election. So who is Vernon Jones? So Vernon Jones, he was born in 1960. He's an American politician from the U.S. state of Georgia. He was a chief executive officer of DeKalb County, Georgia, the Atlanta area, of course. And he was a member of the Georgia House of Representatives and currently still is, because he's back in the Georgia House of Representatives. Well, he decided to endorse and support Donald Trump this election cycle. And then he turned around and said, well, since I'm going to support Donald Trump and since I, Vernon Jones, am a Democrat, I'm going to resign my position in the Georgia House of Representatives. But then a little time went by and he said, you know what? I'm going to complete my term. I'm not going to resign. And so Vernon Jones is a Democrat. He supports and endorses Donald Trump. So just yesterday, Vernon Jones has a media event in the Atlanta area. And he calls out the media, which is a really cool thing. He has Donald Trump Jr. there and Kimberly Guilfoyle there and many people there in his support, both black and white, in Atlanta. And we have a number of clips on this, how you can really see how a Democrat has come off the plantation and decided to be a critical thinker. He's come off the Democrat plantation and decided to become a critical thinker and decide, you know what? I'm going to vote for the person who actually does best for my community and best for the area that I represent, and that's Donald Trump. And get this, we have 3 clips. Here's the first.
Something is wrong here. And for the media and others not to question this process, that tells me many of you are in cahoots with them. All of you have been reporting Joe Biden up 10 points here, and one even said 17 points. You know what that was doing? You interfered more with this election than the damn Russians had.
Sir Vernon Jones says, you, the media, have interfered more in this election by your really crooked polls than the Russians, right? Because the Washington Post said that Joe Biden was ahead nationally by 17 points. 17 points. The day before the election. And every other poll had it way off as well. So that's Vernon Jordan calling out the media and saying, you know what? You've done worse for this country than the Russians, whom you say Donald Trump colluded with. So we have a second clip with Vernon Jones. And in this clip, he speaks directly to Stacey Abrams. And for all of you out there that don't know, Stacey Abrams is the individual who ran for governor 2 years ago in Georgia and lost, and was bitter that she lost because she was convinced that she had won, but she didn't. She didn't win. But she basically said there was voter suppression, and she played all of these plantation politics games with her voter base to try to get them riled up that, you know, we didn't win because of cheating and because of the fact that, you know, there was voter suppression of black people. Well, you know what? Vernon Jones, State Representative Vernon Jones, he's had enough of it. And so he decided to call her out. And he just did this yesterday as well, because he is a Democrat who has come off the plantation, and she's a Democrat who's trying to expand the Democrat plantation. And we have a clip on that, and here it is.
Stacey Abrams, you want a fair fight? Bring it on. Bring it on. You've been like a vacuum cleaner, getting all of this underground money. We need to see where it's coming from and how you're spending it. But I know one thing, you're spending it on suppressing black people and other people. You're suppressing them. You know how you suppress? Because you're intimidating people for having their individual thoughts and their individual concerns. And because they don't support your agenda, you don't want them to vote. You don't want them to come out and speak their minds. What you're trying to do is keep them on that plantation. But many of us are giving the key to that suite. We have left that damn plantation. and we're never coming back.
I love it. I love it. We have left that plantation and we are never coming back. Ladies and gentlemen, podcast listeners, this election, there is a tectonic shift this election, and it is going to be felt for many years to come because we are seeing in real time in this election how the black community and black politicians and black entertainment artists and rappers and many others are finally coming forward and saying, you know what? Things haven't gotten better in my community with 100% Democrat control. So you know what? We need to get off the plantation. We've been on it too long. And no one can say this better than State Representative Vernon Jones of Georgia. In fact, get this. Donald Trump got 4% more of black men this election in 2020 than he did in 2016. And in 2016, he outperformed Mitt Romney. So Donald Trump has 4% more black men, 4% more black women, 3% more Latino men, and 3% more Latino women. And yet all we hear is, oh no, I mean, from Stacey Abrams, it's voter suppression and the African-American people don't really want to, they don't want to vote for Republicans. They want to vote for Democrats, and they're being stopped from doing that. So incredibly untrue. It's the opposite, ladies and gentlemen. What actually is happening is the Democrat Party is losing the black voter base. And they're losing it at an increasing rate of speed. And so they are doing everything they can to play the race card. And Vernon Jones has the absolute guts and courage to come forward no matter what happens to his political career and to say it the way it is. So we have another clip from Vernon Jones. This tells you the sense of humor that he has. He was at the Trump rally not too long ago in Georgia, right before the election, and Vernon Jones is there, and he decides to crowd surf. Crowd surf. I mean, who does this? And I know there's a pandemic, but you get to decide if you're going to go to a rally yourself, and you get to decide whether you're going to crowd surf yourself. It's up to you. It's your life. It's your decision. And here's Vernon Jones. We have this clip. You got to watch. Here it is.
A Georgia Democrat supporting President Trump is defending his decision to crowd surf at the president's rally in Macon. State Representative Vernon Jones tells 11 Alive he will, quote, go to that extreme to get out the vote for President Trump. Jones jumped into the crowd at Friday's Make America Great Again rally. People on social media called him out for crowd surfing in the middle of a pandemic.
Social media, of course, people called him out. We know who those people are, right? People called him out because he was at a Donald Trump rally. Had he been anywhere else, like, I don't know, a riot in downtown Atlanta crowd surfing, oh my gosh, it would have been fine, of course. Yeah, let's crowd surf and riot at the same time. Let's bring Vernon Jordan in. Oh, wow. Vernon Jones in, excuse me. Oh, wow, what a great guy, But we're not going to criticize that, certainly not on social media. So thank you, Vernon Jones, Democrat from the state of Georgia, who is in the Georgia House of Representatives, for coming forward and calling out plantation politics in Georgia, and in particular plantation politics in Atlanta, because the Democrats are losing the black vote, and they're losing it at an increasing speed, and it's just not going to work out well for them. So they have to continue to scare people into staying on that plantation.